This podcast is part of the Planet Broadcasting Network.
Visit planetbroadcasting.com for more podcasts from our great mates.
When literally nobody else in the world is talking about this franchise, this long dormant franchise.
Surely some people are talking about it.
I guess they are.
Idiots, probably.
We're committed. And we're being straight up with you now. We're doing the Twilight movies, and now we're up to Twilight number 3, Twilight Eclipse.
Well, we're committed, and we're also very keen, because you messaged me, like, the day after we recorded the last one, you're like, okay, I've watched the third one, when are we going to record this? And I'm like...
Just get them done.
Just and
move
you know
through
what?
them.
They're bad, but there's a lot of stuff in them,
There's a lot of stuff in them.
There's not a lot of plot necessarily, but there's a lot of things where you go... that's what they're doing with vampires. It's interesting.
Please leave a like if you could. That would be terrific. But no, you're right. But I also think I admire just like the straight-faced commitment to just some of the silliest things I've ever seen.
Sure.
You know, it's not tongue-in-cheek. It's just like, this is a serious romance and we're serious about abstinence. This is a serious situation.
At one point, Bella tells her father about her romance with Edward. She says, don't worry, Dad, he's old school. And I'm like... So, like, sheepskin and test and condoms? Is that what you're talking about? Is that what you're talking about, Bella? Is that what they were?
Gross.
Yeah.
And yes. Or just, just pass diseases around. That was old school as well,
that
wasn't it?
was pretty old school, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I've also discovered why I find Edward Cullen unnerving.
Yeah.
And I think it's because the stare is meant... His, like, vampire stare is meant to be, like, really intense and brooding.
Get some intense moment in this, don't we?
Oh, because they're intense.
They're intense. One tent.
Singular tent.
The hottest sequence is Brokeback Mountain in a tent, Mason.
My goodness. But it's mainly because his stare looks kind of like he's been hit in the head. Like, it's just that far away stare. They should be like cartoon birds circling. At all times. Yeah, that should be one of his vampire powers. Speaking of which, in this... Should we do plot first? What should we do?
Sure. I mean, yeah, maybe we do vampire lore at the end. Because every week we find out a new thing and we go, that's weird. And what? Excuse me?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Vampire shouldn't, but I guess. I don't know. All right, cool, great.
I can't believe how quickly they're knocking these out. And I guess one of the reasons is because they get a new director most of the time.
Who wasn't exhausted.
Yeah, exactly.
Dealing with children and animals.
That's exactly
Teenagers
it.
and wolves.
Incredible. But we're also seeing, relationships evolve over time. My wigdar on Kristen Stewart just went off straight away.
Oh yeah, this is
a
wig?
I looked into this and it's because she cut all her hair off for the Runaways. So that's I mean, it's a pretty good wig. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's no Jacob Black's wig, you know what I mean?
I don't know what you mean,
Or it's the same wig
You think they swapped
that he had? I don't know.
We only have the budget for one more. we don't have the budget for any more wigs. You can use Jacob's wig.
Same wig.
We'll turn it backwards.
Yeah, that's
we'll
right.
comb it in a different way.
Speaking of Jacob, though...
this smells of jorts. What's going on? This wig.
Speaking of Jacob, though...
We go back to their house, and it's just this smooth shirtless boy jort commune that they've got going on. Do you think they have like just one room devoted to backup jorts?
I absolutely think so. What's also interesting about the jort situation is Jacob gets
to jump ahead.
Thank you. To jump ahead to the end, he gets squeezed and injured, and he falls to the snow, and he's naked, and all his boys and one girl run off.
All his boys?
All his boys, no, but all like his family run off, put on jean shorts, and then run back.
Yeah,
so they must have had just a pile.
Yeah,
just outside of the clearing.
Maybe they have various caches of jean shorts dotted around the town like pirate treasure.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, wow.
Like how Spider-Man webs his normal clothes to a bin or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. But speaking of Jacob, look, he's not winning any points for me. Let me just say that, because first of all, he's like, I love you. And she's like, well, I don't love you. And he's like, well, I'm going to keep trying till your heart stops beating.
Ooh, creepy.
And that's like, ooh, okay.
You know what's going to change your mind? A big kiss that you
big
didn't
kiss.
ask for.
And then, I mean, she punches him, but I feel like he's, superhuman enough where he could dodge that. You know?
Great point, yeah.
So he just let her.
But also,
just
he's stupid.
He is also stupid. Speaking of stupid, though, Edward, he's back, obviously. We mentioned him with his...
I thought you meant us. Speaking of stupid, we still watch this all the way to the end.
We can't stop. So Edward mentions, the wolf. You can't trust the wolves. They have no control. And I'm like, dude, there's like 6 vampires that that barely keep it together. And every other vampire in the world is an Italian psychopath.
Exactly.
What do you mean?
They're inhuman. They're bloodthirsty. Like, and even the Cullen clan.
Yeah.
Are like, hey, Bella, you shouldn't want to turn yourself into a vampire because it sucks, and my experience of being a vampire has been terrible,
Yeah.
and it ruined my life.
I'm loving the tragic backstories in this, though. We're getting Jasper.
The spin-off backstories.
We're getting another person. You know what I mean?
Do you think if they'd played better, we would have gotten spin-offs? Rosalie,
You might be
Further
right.
Adventures of Rosalie,
further-
and Jasper.
The Young Adventures of Rosalie.
The Young Adventures
Chronicles.
of Jasper, guy in the Confederate Army.
Yeah, who went on to murder.
Slave owner, can't remember. I don't know.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, so all of that I thought was quite interesting and fleshing out the relationship between the werewolf tribes and the vampires. And, you know, there's the vampire woman who turns on them and tears through them all. Apparently that was shot with Bella.
Oh.
But also, like, that's confusing because it's like, is this a relation of hers? Is she a time travel? So they redid that because
Oh, I see. Right.
that doesn't really make any sense. But and look, and instead of doing like baseball montages, this time around we get training montages.
Yeah, because it's been hundreds of years, but none of them have learned how to fight yet.
Do you think, like, can they train to be stronger? I mean, we could talk about this more in vampire
Oh, like
lore.
if they lifted a lot of weights.
Yeah, or is it more like doing a move?
I think it's more.
You do a flip and a move.
I think you do a flip and a move. I think it's all about the moves.
Okay, all right,
Yeah,
fair
yeah,
enough.
yeah.
Well, Jacob's bloody all about the moves, isn't he? He gets a hot kiss in the end, you know what I mean?
That's right.
And him and Edward have a discussion in a tent where they're like, we're both serious about this girl. We're both very serious. And I accept her. I don't like her, but I accept
We're
you.
both serious men. We're not ridiculous.
We like this girl who just wore a t-shirt and a flannel up into the snow. We think we think she's not an idiot. We like her. We
Yeah.
both love her. Anyway, speaking of love, I
Go
guess. Abstinence. Now, I was promised, I feel like in the early days of this franchise, that we're going to lean more into that. And boy do we. Boy howdy. Hello, abstinence. It's great to see you again. Because as you mentioned, she tells her dad that she's a virgin and Edward's like an old man or whatever. And he gives her like a ring. It's like, I promise I'm going to love you. We're going to get married.
Hell yeah.
We're going to get married. I'm going to bite you. I'm going to turn you into a vampire.
Yum, 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 yum.
I don't understand why they don't really... If so many people are coming to kill Bella all the time, and in this case it's a brand new vampire army, just change it. You know what I
Sure,
mean?
yeah.
Speed it up.
Yeah.
Come on. Let's kick this into gear.
Or spray it with Febreze fairly regularly, you know?
There's a lot about sense in this, isn't there?
Put some Febreze in a shower. She could have a Febreze shower every day.
But,
Febreze, if you're out there, we're welcome to sponsorship.
absolutely we are. But, you know, I like that idea of, like, the newborn vampires are stronger, I guess, because they have more human blood in them for the first several months. And, you know, they're slowly building just outside of town or whatever. And there's a fight coming. And by fight, I mean it's a fucking massacre. Those wolves in that vampire family just tear through them.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's a slaughter.
It is a slaughter. And what's interesting about it is all of those kids, and they're all kids,
Yeah.
got changed into vampires against their will, and they're in a stage, according to the Cullen family, where they're out of their minds, they have no idea what's going on, and this philanthropic Cullen family who want to save everybody and
Yeah.
be nice and be human and all that sort of stuff are just like, yeah, let's just kill them all in a field or whatever. Who cares? They shouldn't have been out so late at night anyway. They wouldn't have got bit if they weren't out late at night. Eh? Let's kill them. Let's not pin them down or whatever.
I thought it was so strange how the Italians turned up at the end and they're like, this girl is under our protection. And they're like, no, we're going to kill that girl. And they're just like, all right,
Yeah.
well, just step up. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Why are these Italians allowed to do this?
Diplomatic immunity.
Diplomatic immunity, Mason.
That's exactly right.
I do like the Riley versus Edward versus Bryce Dallas Howard fight. A recast Bryce Dallas Howard stepping in. I'll talk more about that in trivia because, you know, he's like an evil Edward. You know what I mean? He's twisted and in love. But he's like a regular Edward. He's
Yeah.
twisted and in love. You know?
I really think the villains in this series are like an afterthought.
Yeah.
I mean, they're there and then they're not.
Yep.
Then all those kids got murdered. I don't know. And, you know, obviously, these movies are about the love triangle. They're not about the villains. But come on.
Yeah, I completely
Come
agree.
on. He's just some guy. Like,
Yeah.
give me a. You should have. You know that kid. You know that kid in the school.
Yeah.
The kid, the one that nobody likes. The guy. You know the guy, and he's all like, ugh, and then somebody throws something
I
at
want
him.
to go to a movie. This movie makes me upset, though.
He should have been the vampire guy.
That's a good idea.
I'm full of good ideas.
Imagine how sparkly he would have been as well.
If I gained access to a time machine, I'd go back to 2009, 2010. I'd be like, make that guy the villain.
Who are you shouting at? Just through Stephanie Meyer's window.
Yeah.
Make it the villain!
No, I'm still in Australia.
Oh,
It's a time machine. It's not a time and space machine.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
But Riley, he's actually played by an Australian Xavier Samuel. So.
Oh, I should have gotten to him before he left Australia.
Exactly.
Mate, don't take the job.
Let another person take it.
Insist to be the guy from the school. They throw the paper at him.
You want to do some lore, though?
Yeah.
A couple of things. We could talk about wolf lore. I have nothing else to say other than that the fur on the wolf, magnifique, mate.
It's pretty good. The point where Bella's like stroking Jacob's mane, his furry mane. I'm like, good work.
Good work.
Looks good.
But yeah, I have more questions and thoughts, I feel, about the vampire lore, specifically about what they're made of.
Right.
Because if you remember the first movie, and we had a bit of Twi trivia about it, or whatever it's called, where Edward takes a bite out of that dude with a ponytail, James, I remember things, and then he spits it out, and they used ham and cheese.
Yeah, hell
but
yeah.
But then in this one, they're Ben Harper diamonds on the inside all the way through. Like, what's going on
it's
here?
Wild. Like, they've gone with this idea of like, if you want to kill a vampire, you behead them.
Yeah.
To be like, if you twist them a bit, their head shatters off.
They're
and
glass?
It's like, but are they like, but how do they, is it like that weird magic putty that is like, it's bendable if you move it slowly, but if you hit it, it goes solid?
Yeah.
Is that what they're made of?
I honestly don't know. It's bizarre.
Another piece of vampire lore that they've gone against the grain here. They can just cross running water. In fact, not only can they cross running water, they do it just like Principal Skinner that time in that episode of The Simpsons where they just walk through. They just hit one bank, go on, walk underwater, and then come back the other side.
I'd forgotten about that particular piece of lore, but they're jumping over that river like it's nothing, mate.
Right?
My goodness. Here's another piece of lore that I actually found out because we saw like a couple of them like lose limbs or heads, and you know the main vampire boy, Evil Edward, loses a hand.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's the deal there?
Is it going to grow back?
Yeah, can you regenerate? So I looked into it. So vampires...
Some of these characters have new hairdos.
What do you think about that?
I'm saying if you cut your hair, does it grow back if you're a vampire?
I looked into this.
Carlisle, British accent now, sometimes. He's like, they're building an army.
Maybe he was British?
Maybe.
Maybe it's slipping. Maybe he's a bad actor. You said that. You think that.
Whoa,
I don't think
no,
he was in Can't Hardly Wait. I don't think that.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Anyway, looking at this, what about this haircut?
So there's like it's disputed, but basically the idea is that hair
the
can't...
lore of this weird vampire series is disputed?
Yeah.
My goodness.
Some people think that hair can't grow, and once you cut it, it's done. But other people more firmly believe, and because we see it in these movies, hair does grow. It functions as normal. It may be stronger than regular hair.
Ooh, steel wool hair.
But you know, like Superman, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, like steel wool hair or whatever. But I don't necessarily think that's the case. But in terms of limbs, vampires are capable of regenerating from various injuries and harm, even wounds that are normally fatal to humans. It says hair cannot be healed. So that throws another... What does that mean?
Don't know.
I mean, like if you burn a patch of scalp that doesn't grow back? I don't know. Also, if
you wax your chest for a prank,
also
not coming back.
Also,
James, you're only laughing because you did that.
I did that one time. Yeah, it was. I never again because I loved it so much. Also, if a limb is torn off, they must reattach it, or the torn limb will heal. So it will heal flat and heal over.
Okay, right.
So if you can find your arm or hand,
Yeah.
you can put it back on.
But if it's shattered,
yeah,
like a porcelain doll, you'd have to put all the bits back in there.
Put it together
like a jigsaw,
like a 3D puzzle.
Like a 3D puzzle. Need a big roll of sticky tape.
I mean, I'd imagine some of those bits could like fill in.
Oh yeah, maybe. You just need the main
you're
bits.
Right, yeah, just like crumbling diamond and sticky tape.
You'd have to. What you'd have to do? You'd have to pour all the bits into a rubber glove and then stick it back on your wrist and hope it comes back relatively normal-ish.
Yeah. Could you
Great.
melt it down?
Maybe.
Interesting stuff. I love Twilight. Speaking of, it's time for Triv Clips VR.
I love it.
This is a trivia section of the show. We always call it Triv Clips here.
That's
don't
correct.
we?
Yes.
Yeah. So on the DVD commentary for this film, Robert Pattinson makes fun of Edward's tendency to appear out of nowhere by comparing him to Batman.
Ooh.
He would later go on to play Batman in a Batman movie. Director David Slade, who you might know from 30 Days of Night.
Oh yeah, the super scary vampire.
Very
movie.
good vampire.
Very nice.
And to be fair, also a movie that does also not do a bunch of like vampire lore stuff.
That's true.
Traditionally. Good movie, check it out.
But it does have a man being hurled into a big whirly gear
Oh
thing.
my God, he goes straight. As soon as I saw that, I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be incredible. This is going to be incredible. Ah! Yeah. So David Slade originally spoke out against the Twilight series, stating that he wouldn't go near the franchise. Shortly after he was announced as the director of Eclipse, he quickly withdrew his previous remarks, claiming it to be a joke he was doing to promote some comedy shorts. Jorts.
Sure. It's comedy jorts. And where are those jorts now, David Slade?
That is absolutely not true.
Yeah.
Take a check. I think also, this is probably my favorite so far.
It's got some, at least it had some action.
Yeah.
You know?
There's some big action coming up though. Anyway, one more bit. As mentioned, there is a character that was recast. So Victoria was originally played by Rachel Lefevre, which is exactly how you say it. And what's going on here? Do you know what I mean? Because I feel like it's not like a major enough role where Bryce Dallas Howard, you know, I don't get it. I mean, Bryce Dallas Howard, I think, is great, and I think also proving to be a wonderful director. But why did she do this?
Was she famous before this?
Like a little bit. She'd been in like Spider-Man and bits and pieces.
Oh, yeah,
you know.
of course.
She was definitely known. She was in Terminator, one of the Terminators. Maybe
Yeah,
Salvation.
Maybe the third or fourth or fifth one.
That's right.
Not the third, fourth or fifth one.
That's right. Anyway, Rachel was said to be stunned by Summit's decision to recast her role, explaining she was fully committed to the character of Victoria and the Twilight film series, admitting she turned down other opportunities to ensure that she was available for filming. She also added that in accordance with her contract rights, she only took roles that had very short shooting schedules, like one she did for 10 days. Summit had also reportedly picked up her contract option for Eclipse, however, then said they had a conflict during those 10 days and they couldn't accommodate her, so they chose to recast the part.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very suspicious. Maybe they just had like a Gwen Stacy severed head model, like ready to go.
Yeah, you
and
might
they're
be
just
right.
like, and we've got that Jacob wig. We could just color it orange
Yeah,
and
yeah.
stick it on there, and
Run a curling iron through it.
and then
call
we're
it a day.
sorted. Actually,
My
cheap
goodness.
as chips.
Let's talk box office.
Let's do it.
Because again, these don't make no money. They make a lot of money, don't they?
Do you want to do that whole sentence again?
Do you want to do it again?
No.
Then no.
Okay, great. So these are cheap to make.
Well, this one cost $68 million, so yes, and it made $698 million at the box office.
That's a big return.
chunk of cheese
Big
and
chunk
ham,
of cheese. Yep.
as it were. Now, there's two of these left.
Yep.
They actually broke the final book up into two parts.
Harry Potter style?
Harry Potter styled. So look, do you think we should come back and do this? This is obviously like also a good end point if we wanted to. What do you reckon?
No, I want to see how this ends up. And also, you said that really creepy thing happens, and I want to
You wanna
see
see-
that live. And I don't want to do it on my own time for nothing.
Yeah, you need an excuse to look at it, don't you?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely understand that. So listen, Mason.
Okay.
This is Caravan of Garbage. We do this here every week. And if you do want to see them early, you can actually head over to bigsandwich.co, which is our own Patreon platform. If you do want to sign up, it's got bonus movie commentaries, it's got bonus podcasts, along with early videos, as mentioned. And our podcast, The Weekly Planet, where we talk movies and comics and TV shows, comes out every Monday. That goes up there a day early. All of
right.
that is also ad-free.
Yes.
We hope you're having a good time with this franchise that we tricked you into initially watching potentially.
Right. But maybe you're having a great time.
Maybe you're having a great time.
Maybe you're going to watch the remaining two on your own for some reason.
Yeah. Maybe we're not going to watch them and you're going to go watch them. We're going to come back and be like, we didn't watch them. You watched that weird thing for nothing.
We didn't want to watch them anymore.
You loved that weird baby scene.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Grab that gem, you guys. We'll see you next week.
Goodbye. This podcast is part of the Planet Broadcasting Network.
Visit planetbroadcasting.com for more podcasts from our great mates.
I mean, if you want. It's up to you.